The industry, in its constant technological and narrative evolution, has blazed trails to explore deep and often disturbing themes. Titles such as Scorn, Resident Evil, and The Last of Us are not only pioneering in graphics and gameplay, but also in the way they address various ethical and psychological issues. These games invite players to confront not only virtual enemies, but also moral and emotional dilemmas, forcing them to question their own perceptions of violence, survival, and morality. What is the real impact of these games on human consciousness and behavior? At the psychological level, the relationship between exposure to ultraviolent video games and real-life behavior has been the subject of numerous studies and debates. While some researchers point to a possible link between prolonged play of intense titles and an increase in aggressiveness or a decrease in emotional sensitivity, others argue that these effects are more nuanced and depend on individual and contextual factors. What is certain is that the act of gaming, especially in immersive environments, is not a passive activity. It actively engages the brain, potentially affecting the player's emotions, cognition, and attitudes. Self-regulation and external regulations play a crucial role in this industry. Age ratings and content warnings are essential tools to guide consumers, but they also raise questions about censorship and freedom of expression. Today we are going on a journey that crosses virtual and real boundaries, analyzing how these games challenge, shape, and reflect the deepest facets of our psyche and ethics in the digital age. Okay, gamer, welcome to this great history. In the constant evolution of video games, a particularly stark contrast is drawn by games that delve into the realms of extreme intensity and visceral encounters. Among these, titles such as Hatred, the Postal series, Manhunt, Mad World, and Condemned Criminal Origins stand out, not only for their graphical content, but also for the bold narratives and psychological underpinnings they explore. These games walk thin lines of senseless violence and are a reflection of the complex interplay between digital entertainment and its influence on gamers and the broader gaming culture. Hatred, known for its stark, monochromatic visuals and unflinching portrayal of aggression, challenges the boundaries of what is acceptable in games. It stands as a testament to the power of interactive media to provoke strong reactions, both positive and negative. The game's narrative, devoid of typical heroic tropes, immerses players in a world where the lines between right and wrong are blurred, forcing a confrontation with the darker aspects of human nature. The Postal series, with its satirical approach to social norms and blatant disregard for conventional storytelling, represents a different facet of ultraviolence. The series uses exaggerated scenarios to make sharp observations about society, politics, and human behavior, often pushing the boundary of what is considered acceptable in the gaming world. It is a striking reminder of the medium's potential to reflect and critique real-world problems, albeit through an often uncomfortable lens. Manhunt, notorious for its intense scenes of conflict and remorseless approach to depicting raw encounters, raises questions about ethical boundaries in games. The game's environment, charged with a sense of dread and imminent danger, serves as a dark canvas on which players paint their survival strategies. It is a shadowy dance between predator and prey, played out in the digital realm but resonating with real-world fears and anxieties. Mad World, with its unique visual style reminiscent of graphic novels, offers a different perspective on ultraviolence. Its over-the-top action and outlandish characters serve as a stark reminder that the depiction of violence in games can be as much about artistic expression as it is about shock value. The black and white palette splashed with crimson creates a visual metaphor for the game's exploration of violence, a stylized, almost poetic depiction of conflict and resolution. These games, each in their own unique way, open up a debate about the impact of ultraviolence in games. They force us to question not only the content, but also the context and consequences of such representations. The debate extends beyond the boundaries of the games themselves, touching on issues of censorship, artistic freedom, and the responsibility of game developers and players alike. The influence of these games on the player is as multifaceted as the games themselves. For some, they offer an outlet, a virtual space where emotions and reactions can be safely explored. For others, they are a mirror, reflecting aspects of society and human nature that are often kept hidden. The psychological impact of such games is a topic of ongoing debate, with studies and opinions divided on whether they desensitize players to real-world violence or provide a harmless channel for releasing pent-up emotions. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. The world of ultraviolent video games is not just about the shock and awe of the graphic content. It's about the stories these games tell, the emotions they evoke, and the questions they raise about the human experience. The regulation of ultraviolent and explicit content presents itself as a complex and constantly evolving narrative. It is governed by a diverse range of cultural norms, legal frameworks, and ethical considerations. How countries and organizations handle these issues in video games offers fascinating insight into the interplay between creative freedom, social values, and the responsibility of media creators. An emblematic example of this dynamic is the Grand Theft Auto (GTA) series, which has been the subject of rigorous scrutiny in countries such as Australia and Germany, where certain versions of the game have faced severe restrictions or even bans due to their content. This series vividly illustrates the challenge faced by game developers in balancing narrative, authenticity, with the cultural and legal sensitivities of different regions. This response highlights the delicate balance regulators try to maintain between protecting cultural and social norms and allowing creative expression. On the other hand, Mortal Kombat, an iconic franchise in the fighting genre, has stirred controversy since its release in 1992 for its intense and graphic combat sequences. The game has been banned or censored in multiple countries, including Brazil, where its original version was banned in 1998. This case highlights how different global cultural and regulatory contexts influence the perception and acceptance of video game content. The role of age ratings in regulating video game content is a critical aspect of this narrative. Organizations such as the Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB, in the United States, the Pan-European Game Information, PAG, system in Europe, and the Computer Entertainment Rating Organization, CERO, in Japan, provide guidelines to help consumers make informed decisions about the games they play. These rating systems, while varying in their criteria and methods, share a common goal: to categorize games in a way that reflects their suitability for different age groups and sensitivities. However, the implementation of these classifications is not without its challenges. Differences in cultural norms and legal standards mean that a game rated as suitable for a mature audience in one country could be considered inappropriate or even banned in another, as seen in the case of the game The Witcher 3, which received varying ratings in different regions due to its content. This disparity raises questions about the universality of content standards and the feasibility of a one-size-fits-all approach to video game regulation. Video game censorship is also influenced by country-specific censorship laws. For example, China implemented severe restrictions in 2000, which affected the way games are presented in that market. This variability in censorship laws underscores the complex and often subjective nature of content regulation. As technology advances and the boundaries of what video games can achieve expand, regulators and creators alike face new challenges and opportunities. The introduction of virtual reality, for example, raises new questions about the impact of immersive experiences and the responsibility of creators in crafting these experiences. The psychological landscape sculpted by ultraviolent games is vast and enigmatic. It presents a unique canvas for exploring the subtle and often complex ways in which intense gaming experiences can shape the human psyche. The interaction with ultraviolence and the neural pathways of players invites an analysis of the psychological effect it brings. God of War, released in 2005, Gears of War, 2006, Manhunt, 2003, and Grand Theft Auto, whose third groundbreaking release appeared in 2001, are not just games. They are experiences that challenge the perception of reality. For example, Grand Theft Auto 5, released in 2013, was criticized for its depiction of violence, leading to intense discussion about its impact on gamers. These titles, with their narratives and graphic aesthetics, provide a unique context for understanding how digital ultraviolence can affect the mind. Their frenetic pace and relentless encounters are a paradigm of the adrenaline-driven intensity that characterizes ultraviolent games. This continuous exposure to high-stakes virtual scenarios raises questions about the possible impact of gaming on stress response mechanisms and the capacity for emotional regulation in real-world situations. The possibility of desensitization to intense scenarios is a central aspect of the dialogue about ultraviolent games. A 2012 Indiana University study found evidence of reduced emotional response to violent images after playing violent video games, although the generalizability of these results remains controversial. Furthermore, the immersive nature of modern games, especially with the advent of virtual reality, adds another dimension to this discourse. As players become more physically and emotionally integrated into the game environment, the potential for deeper psychological impact grows. This immersion raises questions about how virtual experiences, especially those involving intense themes, might influence players' perceptions, behaviors, and emotional processing in the physical world. The ethical responsibilities of creators form a maze of moral considerations, especially when navigating the terrain of violence, sensuality, and other sensitive topics. This landscape is not only a field of creative exploration, but also a domain where ethical dilemmas frequently arise, challenging developers to balance artistic expression with moral responsibility. The ethical responsibilities of game developers when creating content that includes intense themes extend beyond narrative considerations. The representation of characters, especially those from marginalized or underrepresented groups, is a significant aspect of this ethical landscape. Games that include intense or sensitive content should be designed in a way that respects player autonomy and provides them with the tools necessary to interact with the content in a way that is comfortable for them. This includes implementing content warnings, adjustable settings, and mechanisms that allow players to control their exposure to certain topics. As technology advances and new forms of interactive storytelling emerge, developers face new opportunities and challenges in their ethical responsibilities. The advent of virtual reality, for example, raises new questions about the impact of immersive experiences and the responsibility of creators in crafting these experiences. Engaging in these ethical dimensions requires developers to be not only skilled in their craft, but also empathetic and socially conscious. Thanks so much for watching. Follow us to learn more about the amazing world of video games. Let us know what you thought and what else you would like to see in this channel. See you next time, gamer.